Hey everyone. Hey everyone, we're going to talk about the elephant in the room, the correct response when it comes to a vendor reaching out to you and you reaching out to a vendor. There is a communication that has started and something that needs to be followed all the way through. So we're going to talk about the do's and the don'ts and the right way to approach whatever you're doing and do it the right way. So stay tuned. Welcome back to the channel. I am Ron from Lemelin Photography. I'm a Western mass wedding photographer. I do a lot of bridal shows, which is where I get a lot of my leads from, but most of my leads come from word of mouth and Google searches. And I always ask where my leads come from. So starting with that, when the lead does come in, the first thing I do is check for availability. If I'm available, I block the calendar off with that person's name with a question mark next to it. Then I will reach out to that said person that reached out to me, whether it's via text or a phone call or a email. Get you on the phone, we start talking about some things and so on and so forth. So one of the biggest problems that is happening nowadays is we are so technically savvy that sometimes we become so technically blind. It is very easy, it is very frustrating. Let me start with the frustrating part. It is very frustrating as a business owner to reach out to a bride, groom, wedding couple and say, hey, thank you for reaching out to me. I'd love to talk about, your wedding story and what your plans are, what your details are. Give me a call or send me a text. Then I'll get a text back saying, hey, we'd love to work with you. Saw your website. This is our date, so on and so forth. I send you back package pricing after we have a phone call. And then once you have that, the rest is up to you. So as a wedding couple, your job is to field all of the other photographers that you're looking at. So if you're looking 2, 3, 4 5 other photographers at the same time, have the decency of looking at them and figuring out what the top best 3 are. First of all, price-wise, because that's what everybody does, but feel-wise, vibe-wise, which one of you have a connection with and which one the work stands out to the most. Separate your top 3. Now, let's say you were looking at 5 and you just separated the top 3. Have the decency, wedding couples, please have the decency to just send a text to the bottom 2 people that you just discarded and saying, hey, unfortunately, your vibe didn't fit the feel that we had for our day, or your prices were too high, or whatever. Don't say we don't like your work because that's not nice either, but just find something polite to say, hey, we decided to go in another direction. Now those bottom 2 people know that they're not going to hear back from you again. Now, if that happens to be me, what I do is I go back to my calendar, I go back to my 17 hats, I pull up your conversation that we had inside of there, I archive your project. So I don't delete it because sometimes if you call me back in 6 months, I might still be available or whatever, and I can still have all of your information inside of there. So I don't delete projects, I don't delete contacts, I just archive them, which means you will not receive any more information from me, nor can you see any more information from me. That means your emails I sent you, you no longer have access to. So the frustrating part is if you are in that situation. But when you don't email somebody back, when you don't text somebody back, and you decided to go in another direction, the vendor, like myself, is forced into this situation to question, wonder, think, ponder, guess if you're still interested in our services or not. So the proper way, I'm going to start from the vendor's point of view. If you reach out to me and I am not available, I will let you know right away that I am not available. I won't wait a week and a half to text you back to say, oh, by the way, I should have told you last week, I'm not available for your date. So that way there you can start looking at other photographers. Because what happens is wedding couples, they just throw a blanket email out, hey, Bobby, Joey, Susie, Nancy, and Carl, we're getting married this date, here's our venue, and let's see who gets back to us first. There's nothing wrong with that. It's very efficient on your end. But when you do that and we reply back, if you decide we're not a good fit, email us back, text us back. Don't ghost us. There's such a thing right now going on in the industry that nobody's replying back to emails and text because of whatever reason. Please forgive me. I do a lot of work with lawyers and doctors and nurses. You guys work different shifts and you got to sleep at intervals, and I get that. Just when it comes time to working on your wedding stuff, have the decency to reply back to said vendor. My friend Bill and I were just talking about this. It doesn't matter if you're a florist. It doesn't matter if we're an officiant, a DJ, a photographer, a videographer. It doesn't matter what the vendor is. As a wedding couple, please, if you do not feel that we are a good fit, text us back, email us back. Don't make us wonder, question, think, and even guess, because that's very frustrating, because one of two things are going to happen. I'm going to reach out to you. First of all, my software will remind you that the questionnaire wasn't filled out. So after a week, it sends you another text or email saying, hey, your questionnaire is coming up for answering again. Well, if you had no intentions of coming with me anyways, you should have told me a week ago. If you're still on the fence and comparing prices, send a text back saying, hey, we are in the process of going through 4 or 5 other photographers. Thank you very much for your time. We'll get back to you as soon as we can. That tells me that there's still a chance for me to be for your day. Okay? If you don't text me back and that's what your intentions are, we're not mind readers. We're left with either they're ghosting me or they're just not even going to go with me at all. So then I don't want to take it out of the calendar, and then you call me back and you had a death in the family, or you work third shift and you haven't had access to your emails or whatever, and then I look like a fool. So, wedding couples, have the decency to just reply. Find a nice way to just say, your prices are too high, we didn't like your work, or whatever. I would rather know that I'm not a good fit for you, price-wise or creativity-wise or quality-wise, whatever, then find out waiting and wondering. It's very frustrating on our end, because what happens is now you got our prices, you're looking at them, a week goes by, we hear nothing. Now, we understand your wedding is not until next year. You know that. I know that. But people are calling me now for next year and the next year after that. People are calling me for 2026 and 2027. So if you've got a January 2026 wedding, yes, that's not until next year. I get that. October 2026, not till next year. You're in no rush. The problem is the vendors that you're looking at are fielding other requests from other people. And I always go by the first person that replies to me. So that timestamp said 12 o'clock, and that person for the same date reached out at 12:30. The person at 12 o'clock gets first dibs at that. They get 1 week. If I don't hear from them after 1 week and they don't tell me that they're busy or I'm still got a chance or anything like that, I open it up to the next person. If they contact me right away and they're like, hey, okay, Ron, done deal, and they let me know within 24 hours, the date goes to them, even though you said that you were doing something else. Now, that might be a little bit like hard for somebody to understand because we had first dibs. If we don't hear from you in more than a week, and when I send you an email asking a question, my software tells me you saw my email. I don't know if you got my text. I don't have the ability to see if you read my text or not, but emails, my software tells me you read, somebody with your email address read my email. So when I do that twice and you still don't reply back, I open it up to somebody else. Just because, and it could be you're on third shift, you're busy, death in the family, I get that. But I'm not knowing that. Well, my wedding's not till next year. I've got plenty of time to think about it. Yes and no, because somebody else is going to take the date. I hold it for 1 week, 2 weeks tops. If nobody's asking for the date and you still have it, I'll let you go 2 weeks. But sooner or later, after 2 weeks, you really got to know if the 5 people you're looking at and you don't reply back to any of them, you're stringing 5 people along and it leaves us up in the air with what your intentions are. Now, if all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I forgot to get back to Ron and I'm going to email him now. And I was like, hey, I emailed you 3 times. I got no responses. Sorry, somebody took your date. You're going to be upset. And then it's going to look like, oh, I was busy and I understand, but I didn't know that. So the whole video right now is there's this very bad trend happening now where wedding couples are just not getting back to their vendors. Please just have the decency of just saying, hey, we're looking at other people. We'll get back to you very soon. Reply back to an email saying, yes, I got your email. Give me a little bit more time, so on and so forth. If you get a text, don't just ghost it. Send a text back. Hey, Ron, received your text. Let me talk to my fiance. I'll get back to you soon. That way I know something on your end is still a possibility. If you have no intentions of going with me or said vendor, just let us know so that we can take you out of our calendar and my software doesn't keep sending you reminders and things like that. So just have the decency to doing that. Thank you guys for coming back to the channel. And if you're a wedding couple looking at this, first of all, it's not a finger pointing thing. It's just a courtesy. It's just a courtesy. If I take 3 weeks to get back to you about an email that you emailed me, first of all, it's only because I'm on vacation and I have no internet. That is the only way I would ever not get back to anybody within a 24-hour period at all whatsoever. I even set my email up to let people know that I'm on vacation with no internet. So just have the decency to do that. Vendors, if you're running into the same problem, put your comments down below what you do, what you're trying to do, or things to avoid when doing this. How long do you hold your dates for when somebody reaches out to you, and then just what your plans are and what your intentions are. So as a bride and groom, please let the vendors know right away. If we're not a good fit, just let us know so we don't get dragged along for the next 3 weeks guessing. As a vendor, your client reaches out to you. Get back to them right away. Get back to them right away. They're busy, you're busy. Just send them a text or an email. Say, hey, I got your questionnaire. I know you're looking for this date. Let me get back to my studio. I'm away for the weekend. I won't be back until Monday. I'll take a look at my calendar then, and then I can get back to you. But then make sure first thing on Monday morning, you're getting back to those said people, because it goes both ways. As a vendor, don't ghost couples. As a wedding couple, don't ghost the vendors. Simple. Just have a courtesy of getting back to people when they reach out to you. It's just the proper thing to do. So thank you guys for coming back to the channel again. I appreciate your time. If you're having problems with this, or you've been ghosted before and you've ran into situations like this, leave it down in the comments down below. But always, always, always hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It helps the channel. It helps me grow, and it helps me get the word out there to other wedding vendors and other wedding couples. And that's all I want to do, is be a source of information for vendors and wedding couples in the industry. So remember to smile more, because it sure does hurt less. Peace.